Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone supporting supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Warning, this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And today, I'm going to be doing a story called Hurricane. All the named storms that for 20 years, y'all, I worked every hurricane that hit the state of Louisiana. So I have a ton of stories, but I just want to highlight on a few of them for you. But let me start with this most recent storm. The West Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office, which is the parish next to where I'm at, the rural parish, during the storm, one of their deputies, a sergeant, was responding to a call, and a tree fell in front of his unit on the road, and he had to swerve to miss a tree, and he hit another tree, and he got hurt, and he got bad in the car. Well, guess what? He was able to call it in, but nobody else could get to him because of all the trees and stuff that were falling down. So it took them a bit to get to him. They get to him, they extract him from the vehicle, they get him to en route to the hospital, where the sheriff has showed up and was on the scene, as any good leader would be, right? If one of your guys gets hurt. And the sheriff shows up and everybody's getting ready to leave. The sheriff's walking to his vehicle and another tree limb fell and hit him in the head. And so he's injured and he has to go to the hospital. So what you don't think about on these storms, you see them on the news, and you see about people without power or whatever. What you don't think about is with the real life that goes on during a storm, and especially from the law enforcement officer standpoint. And you are literally putting your life on the line. One of the first ones I remember, I'm bad with names. I was working for Livingston in uniform patrol, and it was a slow moving storm, meaning that it came in slow and it dumped a shit ton of rain and flooded everything in the high winds, and finally, moved on. But during the storm itself, 911 call comes in with 103D, a disturbance in the back of Eastover, and I got back there, and I had this pretty brand new car, but I get back there and it's flooded, and I'm like, shit, I can't get to them, right? And then it was a naked female with a knife, high on whatever, threatening to kill everybody in the neighborhood. And Eastover, y'all, is a really, really bad. It's the white ghetto. It's one of the worst trailer parks in the parish, certainly on the west side of the parish. And I get there and I call my supervisor. I said, look, I said, Danny, I can't get through there. He said, you got to get through there. She's got a knife and she's going to kill somebody. You got to get through. So you know what I did? I backed up and I ran my unit through it, and I swamped that bitch out to the point where it killed, and I had water coming in the car, and I had to climb out of the unit on the hood of the unit, and I could see the residents, and I hear all the screaming, and my spotlight was still on. I had it screaming, and sure enough, there was a naked female running around with a knife. So I had to continue to go through the water and get over there, and she was higher than shit, and she's like, I'll kill you too. And I, trusty freeze plus P, I sprayed her from about 10 feet away and was able to affect the rest. But this is all in the middle of a hurricane. This is when the winds are blowing probably at least 40 miles an hour still, and no power. And, I could have drowned in the car, right? And then I have to arrest a naked lady with a knife. And it's just, these things go on. It seems like hurricanes intensify people's stupidity. I don't know why. I know a large percentage of the population love to drink when we have hurricane parties in South Louisiana. I'm guilty of it myself. There's never been a storm since before I got into law enforcement or since I got out where I knew the storm was coming. Well, I didn't load up on beer, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. Especially when you know you're going to lose electricity, et cetera. You got nothing else to do. You might as well drink a cold one. Beer and ice, right? And hurricane snacks. But another one, but let me tell you, when you knew a storm was coming, the sheriff knew the storm was coming, or state police. Let's start with sheriff's office. Sheriff's office, you knew the storm was coming. You got an all page. Everybody got the page to fill up your units, whether you're a uniform patrol or a detective, or you worked in civil or whatever. You had to top off on gas, first of all, in case the electricity went out, you can't get gas, right? Secondly, you make sure you have your rain gear, and certain people were allotted to get chainsaws. I was one of them. On this next storm, I'm going to tell you about. You would catch calls until the storm got so bad, the sheriff would tell the radio room, okay, get everybody off the road. If it was a bad storm, right? I mean, 30 miles, 40 mile an hour winds, didn't matter. You're out there and you got trees falling on people's houses. You got people getting in wrecks. You got people calling 911 disturbances. I mean, people just go stupid. It's kind of like a full moon during the summer. But this one, I remember, we had got caught off the road. And so you'd work right up until that point. And I was somewhere near Springfield on the east side, and I parked on the side of a building, actually by the Springfield Police Department. And I remember it because they only have one red light in Springfield. And it got to blowing so bad, the red light was blown up, like not blown up, but like explosion blown up, but it was blown sideways for the longest time. And that whole red light looked like it was about to blow down the road. But when the wind's blowing so hard, anything that was on the street was flying by like tumbleweeds, etc. And then as soon as it started to calm down, I mean, the 911's calling out the calls that are stacking up, right? I mean, people that are trapped, boom, 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 and trees down on such and such. Well, your first job is, besides answering the distress calls, is to cut trees out of the roadway. Yes, sheriff's department cutting trees. The state highway department can't cut all the trees and then would come down in a big storm. And so anyway, I remember when it started to calm down, they said, okay, y'all can start responding to calls. Well, Alden Thomasy, and this guy, he's now over all uniform patrol and everything for the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. I don't know what his rank is, but I got to see him at the, I was a keynote speaker or guest speaker for the Peace Officer of the Year Award about 2 weeks ago, and I hadn't seen him in years. But Alden Thomasy is, I suppose, still a walking encyclopedia of the law. He could tell you any Louisiana Revised Statute criminal code or traffic code off the top of his head and the definition. I like to think at the time that I was there that I became second only behind him, but there were still times I had to call him and say, hey, man, what the hell is the charge for this one, right? And he could tell you right off the top of his head. But the reason I'm telling you this, we were headed to some type of 911, people trapped, et cetera. We get one of these back roads. Guess what? Big ass tree down. Well, both of us had chainsaws. We get out to cut the tree so we can respond to the 911. Now it's raining and it's dark, and you got your spotlights on the tree that's down, and we're getting there. Shit is dangerous. You run the chainsaws and the lightning, and one of the worst part, and that's what happened to me up here the other night during hurricanes, is the tornadoes that are spun off. And that's where I think most of the damage comes from, especially on the smaller storms. But I remember getting out, Alden and I attacking this tree. Chainsaws running, cutting it up. And we were almost back to back. And I heard him drop his chainsaw and start screaming and running. And I didn't know what it was. I thought, shit, he must have cut himself. And then I felt it. I felt pop, 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 pop on my side of my face and the back of my neck. Now I got this big yellow slicker on, right? But it's hot. Hurricane season, it always seems to be hotter than hell when the storms come through. And when I say I started getting sting popped, it was hornets. Fucking tree had a hornet nest in it, and of course you couldn't see it because you're cutting with a low light situation. Fucking hornets, and hornets, y'all, aren't like wasps. When the hornets get on you, they won't leave you alone. When they get pissed and they start attacking, they're on your ass until you're a mile away or you can get underwater or whatever. And shit, they tore my ass up, and then I had to drop my chainsaw and run. And I must have had 15 stings on me, and that some had gotten inside of my rain slicker, and just, this is kind of shit that your law enforcement goes through, but beyond the arresting people and the saving people, the danger stuff that you do. And I'll never forget that, because I remember getting far enough away and stripping my shit off because getting naked in the street and getting cigarette tobacco and wetting it and putting it on the sting bites. I don't know, man. You can never give enough credit to those people who are out there on the front line. They do it every day, right? And answer the calls, and it's dangerous. But shit, when a hurricane comes through, they're the ones, so hats off to them. Just, anyway, I don't know. But yeah, Alden, great guy. And it was good to get to see him at the Peace Officer of the Year Award. Another story. Let me tell you some dum-dums, or a quick dum-dum story. It was after, might have been Katrina. The power was out. Now look, I have some bad stories about Katrina that I'm going to tell. I'm going to start telling. One of them is going to lead off on season 6, but this is a whole different ballgame right here. I get called on a 62A, which is an alarm, at the store off of Highway 16 down south. It was the only store down there, actually, in between Walker South Road and Juban Road. Way down there in the middle. I mean, it's just a little country store. And I'm like, and I knew it had bars on the windows that had been broken into before, et cetera. So I get a call, responding as a detective, on one of the detectives on call. I guess I was closest. I don't remember what the deal was, but get there. And this is after the storm had gone through. I think it was like two days or so after. Still no power. And, the roadways had been cleaned up, et cetera. I get to the store and I pull up, and it's a small country store, like 2 gas pumps in the front, wood siding or wood on the outside of the store. And when you're facing it, you have the door, the double door. And right to that is a window, a small, not even a big window. You couldn't have climbed through this fucker. And that door had bars on it, and the window had bars on it. And I'm looking at it, and it's daylight, y'all. I mean, it was like 6 o'clock in the evening or something. I'm looking at it, and the window is busted out. Right. Even though the power's off, the alarm still had the battery backups or whatever it was. I'm looking at the window, and it's busted. And I'm like, why in the hell would somebody bust the window when it's got fucking bars on it? So I get up to looking closer, and I see blood everywhere. And I'm looking in, I'm peering in. I told dispatch that I was on the scene, and I saw the blood. I told them to get me a key holder to come out so I could work the scene, right? Even though nobody got in, I need someone to come shut the alarm off and what have you. Now, I'm looking at the window, there's blood. I'm looking at the bars, there's blood. I look down on the ground, and there's blood. And there was nothing, no houses across the street from this place, but there's a small trailer park in the back of it. And we
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdowns scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gaba will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had.
Had calls in there over the years, and I was familiar with it. It doesn't take a genius sometimes, right? I told you prisons are full of dumb criminals. I looked down on the ground and the blood, and guess what? It's a lot of blood. And I just followed the blood trail, and I followed it around the building. There's like 9 or 10 trailers in this little trailer park in the back. I followed it right down into the trailer park, in between trailers, and I followed right to the back corner of the trailer park, and there's a trailer, and this shit, I'm following like a wounded deer blood trail. This is a lot of blood, and I'm not talking about drops. And I followed this shit, this blood up the steps and blood going in the trailer, and so I knock on the door, and nobody answered, and I knock on the door, and I said, sheriff's office. Nobody answered. I said, look, you dumbasses, I know you're in there. I know one of you is bleeding. Come out and talk to me now, and I can get you some assistance. And I said, look, I'm not fucking going away. I get the SWAT team and surround the house. I know you broke into the store. Let me help you, et cetera. So finally, somebody opened the door. It was 3 kids, and the first one opened the door, and I actually had my pistol by my side, and I went and I said, do y'all have any weapons? And he said, no, we don't. I said, where's the guy that's bleeding? He said, he's hiding in the back bedroom. I said, he doesn't have any guns. He said, no. I said, go outside and stand over there on the end of the trailer and do not come back inside, or I said, I will shoot you. And I made sure he wasn't bleeding, right? So I just walked in. It's, kind of a gray area. You could call it hot pursuit if you wanted to, but also there's an amount of blood I could have justified going in to check on the person's safety. But shit, hey, blood went in the living room. He must have sat at the couch for a while, and there was blood, and there was blood going down the hallway. So I went down, kept calling out. I said, I'm coming down there. You better show me your hands when I come in. They don't have any firearms, etc. And they were like, no, we don't have any guns. And I opened the door. And one dude was sitting on the bed, and he's holding his hand above his head and with a big old towel around it. And for shit, some bitch is soaked with blood. And I said, well, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to answering any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. I said, now, you going to tell me what happened? He said, I hurt my hand. I said, yeah, it's obvious, fucker, and just tell me what happened in the store. I'll get you some medical attention. And when I went in the door, y'all, when I first saw the blood in the living room, on the living room table was like some packs of rolling papers, lighters, and I mean new shit. That obviously stuff they had taken from the store. Actually, there was some of that on the ground, outside the store also. And I said, Just tell me what happened. I'm going to get you an ambulance. I'm not going to take you to jail today. You're wounded, etc. I said, I will make a warrant for your arrest. Or I said, I can be an asshole and take you to jail right now. He said, man, we wanted some cigarettes, man. We ran out of cigarettes. We've been out with power for 2 days. I said, okay. And he said, well, I busted the glass on the store, and I said, well, what the fuck did you bust it with? He said, I busted it with a brick. And I said, and he said, well, I reached in and I was pulling stuff out, and I cut my arm, and he pulled the towel off, and look, y'all, he had like an artery cut. I'm surprised the dude wasn't dead. I said, no. I said, wrap it back up, and wrapped it up. And I called for an ambulance. Got his name, got all this information. I wasn't going to fuck with him. I had bigger fish to fry at the time anyway. Got his name, date of birth, office ID. The ambulance had to come get him, etc. And I let him take him to the hospital, and I ended up cutting a warrant for him a few days later when I had time. You got to remember, this is after a storm, a major storm. I think that one was Katrina. Just goes to show you the stupidity of people, right? I mean, they didn't even get any cigarettes. He just stole packs of rolling papers and lighters and anything that he could reach, and then slices an artery. Another one. Oh, even tell you what the number one thing is that's stolen during hurricanes. And if you've ever done this, you are a fucking asshole. Okay. And I'm just telling you that because I'm sure somebody out there listening has done this. If you've done this, you are a dick. The number one stolen item after a hurricane, especially a bad storm, is generators. Now, imagine this. You got your family. You know a storm's coming, right? So you go, when the storm hits the Gulf and they say it's even coming anywhere near Louisiana, you're not going to be able to find a loaf of bread, bottle of water, all the beer sells out, all the gas sells out. People that have been through it before long enough, or that are going to ride it out, are going to have a generator. I mean, I've got 4 freezers full of deer meat and hog and stuff like that. You don't want to lose everything that's in your freezer, but a generator, a decent generator, will be powerful enough to run maybe your freezer and one air conditioner, and you put your family in that room. I mean, because shit is hot, and you can't sleep with doors and shit open. Look, I was here this past weekend. Mosquitoes have tore my ass up, and the bugs and stuff. So you get your shit, you get all your gas cans, and you go fill them up, and you get your generator ready. You test it, make sure it starts, and you pray for the best, right? You get all your groceries and your beer and your liquor and one of the most famous drinks in New Orleans is called a hurricane, y'all. And that's hurricanes associated with drinking also. But anyway, so let's say you have your family all prepared. You got your hurricane snacks, and you are good to go. Storm comes, you lose power. Hotter than fuck. And so you don't want to lose everything in your icebox. Crank up the old trusty generator. Line your gas cans up. You're good to go. Gets dark. About 2:00 in the morning, you're sleeping with your little portable window unit that you keep for hurricanes, right? So your family's nice and cool in the room. Everybody's safe. Waiting on the power company to turn the lights back on. In the middle of the night, all of a sudden, and generators are loud too, y'all. I'm sure most of y'all have had experience with them, but generators are loud as fuck. And in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, everything goes quiet because some asshole has just stolen your generator. And it happens all night long. I guarantee you, from Hurricane Laura and this Hurricane Delta that just passed through, I guarantee you people are out there stealing generators. And if you've done that, you're an asshole. And there's just, you're not going to get more than $300 or $400 for a generator hot on the street anyway. And you might have got to waste some cans of gasoline, but you're an asshole because you didn't take the time to prepare, or you're a doper and you're going out there, and that family that's worked for that and is the guy that's taking care of the family or the girl. And in the middle of the night, they wake up you stole their shit. And that's the largest theft thing or item that there is during storms. It's really sad. And that it used to really just burn my ass when people did it. And then look, they don't just steal one. They ride around these neighborhoods and shit, you can hear them from a half a mile away. And then they'll go in on foot, and a couple of them grab the generator, a couple of them grab the gas cans, and they run out. Well, shit, by the time you realize and you run outside, you can't see dick anyway. And it happens, right? One of the other bad things that happens is, then this is not as funny, or what you want to call it. One of the most common deaths from the storm or after the storm is carbon monoxide poisoning. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to say names or any towns or whatever, but I've worked it before, y'all, and people just don't know when maybe first time generator owners or whatever. You've got to set the generator where it's far enough away because the exhaust comes off of it. And I've worked it. I've been in a house where 5 people dead and from carbon monoxide poison because they didn't ventilate the generator properly. And what's bad about that, or I can't say it's bad, but what sticks out of my mind about those deaths is all the victims are cherry red, like red. The whole body, the skin is red. And I walk in and I see that, I already know it's carbon monoxide poison. I don't know why the body turns red like that. But again, that's stuff you deal with from hurricanes, and I've worked several of those cases, and they're just absolutely horrible that, when whole families get killed or even anybody dies from it naturally. But I've worked where whole families have gotten killed because of generators and the exhaust. I don't know. But hats off to the first responders, hats off to the people working it, hats off to the people who work the aftermath of it. Hurricanes are bad. And the people ask me, do I have PTSD about, the bodies and the stuff that I've worked and everything? And I actually don't. I have PTSD or think anything that really bothers me except for the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. And I'll get into that next week. And 9/11. But I'm going to tell you one more and I'll end it. It was a really bad storm, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. We had been called to get off the road. I was the detective on call. I mean, it was a bad one. And I pulled off on the side of the building. The reason I would do that is to get out of the way of the wind and flying objects. But at one point, the storm was so bad that my windows, I could feel the pressure build up in my car. My side windows started to move inwards. There was so much pressure and it was hurting my ears. I got down. I thought my windows were going to explode from the pressure of the storm. And they didn't. The 911 calls were stacking up and the trees falling, et cetera. And when it calmed down enough that pressure had moved on and they turned us loose on the road, we had a call and it was pretty close to me. And I remember responding, and it was a trailer at the end of a dead-end street, and it had a huge oak tree, fell right dead ass in the middle of the trailer. And the neighbors said there is a guy in there, and he's not coming out. I know he's in there. He'd been living there for like 20 years. This neighbor said, I'm telling you, he's in there. And we keep calling to him, and he's not responding. So break out the chainsaws. The volunteer fire department responds. Other units respond, and we're trying to cut this tree away, and it's massive, and it's right, and the trailer's like sliced in half, and we're cutting away and getting to him, and hollering for him and pulling away these big limbs, and then the scene started to show it was the living room. There was a couch. All this is smashed down to the ground. Living room and a couch, and we could see the guy. Actually, the back of the couch was broken down. Everything was pinned down, but we could see the guy in there, and he wasn't responding. So we kept cutting, and then they cut it away enough. I mean, this obviously he was 10-7. He was dead. I mean, it was almost like something out of a comic book. He was literally flattened like a pancake. The tree fell on him and killed him. I mean, shit went into his pocket when it got down to the body, and he was just smushed and went in his pocket for his ID, you know, and to get date of birth and stuff like that. And I'll never forget, he had a bag of weed in his pocket. And I was like, oh, you won't be getting in trouble for this, right? And so, but, you know, storms happen, shit happens, and you never should forget about the people that are out there that are really, I mean, they do it every day. The law enforcement does. But on those days, they leave their own families. And I did it for so many years. Left my own family to go out and take care of other people's families. And hurricanes are just a beast. Even the small storms can make all the tornadoes and just a beast. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Shop early, save big, all month long during Black Friday build-up at Lowe's. Right now, get select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees starting at just $59.98. Don't wait to save. Shop these deals today, in-store or online, because Lowe's knows deals. Discount taken at time of purchase while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.